Yeah, I think he's a great fight. Obviously, I've known Shakur from the amateur days. I've sparred him over the years in Colorado when, I was over there on training camps and stuff. So, Shakur's a great fighter, so is Teo. And I really think it is a 50-50 fight, but I think I'd have to favor
Smith, even with a world title opportunity of his own just days away, is sending shockwaves through the 140-pound division. He hasn't just studied Shakur Stevenson from afar. He's exchanged punches with him behind closed doors in the thin air of Colorado, and he knows exactly what kind of problem awaits Teofimo Lopez. Smith isn't choosing words carefully or playing industry games. He's delivering a blunt truth rooted in firsthand experience. This isn't a casual prediction, it's a warning. And if Smith is right, Teofimo isn't just facing a rival. He's stepping into a tactical maze with no clean exit.
People think the fight with Teo is either going to be you delivering a masterclass
or a knockout by Teo.
Yeah, or you getting into some type of brawl with Teo and end up getting knocked out, right? What are fans getting wrong about the matchup?
I think the fans is getting wrong about the matchup is where I'm not sleeping on that I know about Teo. Teo's a good boxer. Mm-hmm. He's boxer first. So we could say, oh, he's just going to knock you out. He's just going to... That's not him. He's boxing first. He's going to want to establish distance and range on the outside and try to beat me up on the outside. So I think that's the main thing. And also the biggest thing that everybody don't realize with me, I could punch. Mm-hmm. Everybody say, oh, he can't punch, and then boom, crack somebody, and then they laying down, or something may happen to where they hurt or something like that. So I think that's two big things where they don't understand.
Smith isn't the type to drop names for attention. He's a technician, a fighter's fighter. And right now, he's one of the few men who understands what really happens when the cameras are gone. In a revealing interview, Smith was asked the question dividing the boxing world: who wins when? Explosive power collides with elite precision. Many analysts are split straight down the middle, treating it like a coin flip between Lopez's explosiveness and Stevenson's defensive brilliance.
Shakur's a great talent, and Teofimo looked great in his last fight. Of course, he didn't have Shakur in front of him, but I think that for Shakur, he has to keep the fight at his distance. If he does that, I think it's a win for him. Teofimo, he's more, he wants to draw you in, he wants to counter punch. He's gonna have to be a different guy this time. He's gonna have to attack. He's gonna have to be leading the fight, or else it's gonna be a boring fight. I don't think it'll be a boring fight, but if he sits back and waits for Shakur's gonna wait for him, then it's not gonna be exciting. But I think Teofimo will attack. I think Teofimo has to attack. I think Teofimo has to do what Zepeda did, except for Teofimo's a lot more talented than Zepeda was. So I think that I honestly, I see a draw. I don't know why I see a draw, but I just see them both having great rounds and giving us the kind of fight that I think the public is looking for.
Didn't hesitate. He delivered what many see as bad news for Teofimo Lopez. While he acknowledged the danger in Lopez's power, Smith clearly leaned towards Shakur Stevenson getting the job done. That's a heavy statement coming from a rival in the same division. Most fighters hedge or back the bigger puncher. Smith doesn't. He looks at layers, intelligence, and traps. He believes Shakur builds problems round by round and that Teofimo may walk straight into a lesson. He can't...
The upcoming bout between Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson, right? It's a fight that everybody's waiting to see. What are your thoughts on that fight? How do you see that fight playing out, and who do you have and why, bro? If you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, I think it's a great fight. Obviously, I've known Shakur from the amateur days. I've sparred him over the years in Colorado when, I was over there on training camps and stuff. So, Shakur's a great fighter, so is Teo. And I really think it is a 50-50 fight, but I think I'd have to favor Shakur in that one.
Where does that confidence come from? History. Smith and Shakur haven't met under bright lights, but they've shared rounds where honesty is unavoidable to Jim. Smith revealed he spent time in Colorado, the high-altitude proving ground where elite fighters test their limits, and sparred with Stevenson. He respected the code of silence, offering no clips or combinations. But his description said everything. He called Shakur unbelievable. That word matters. It signals a level of control you don't fully grasp until you're standing in front of it. Smith hinted at the elusiveness, the defensive frustration, and the mastery of distance that defined Shakur's style. Sparring at altitude strips excuses away. Smith saw the engine and the skill up close, and that's why he believes Teofimo isn't for a long, exhausting night. 5 interviewed contrast is what makes this warning so unsettling for Lopez supporters. Teofimo has always preached that every fight is different. often pushing back against critics who question his consistency. He thrives on emotion, instinct, and sudden momentum shifts, but Smith's breakdown suggests instinct alone may not be enough against a fighter who processes the ring like a machine. By backing Shakur, Smith is essentially saying that reliability.
That's fire, bro. That's fire. You see, that's stuff that a lot of us and even fans, we don't know that. You know, when you guys spar, you guys don't drop no videos to let us know that you guys are doing your thing.
Exactly, yeah. Sparring's kept in the gym, you know. Like you said, that's, you know, you have to be a true professional.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. But, you know, if you don't mind me asking, can you give us a little insight? How is it sparring with Shakur Stevenson? You know, a guy like that.
Yeah, it was good. Like I said, you know, Shakur's always been a great fighter. Obviously, I've always held my own in any sports. You know what I mean? That's why I'm world level. But you know, Shakur is an unbelievable fighter. What he's achieved through the amateurs as a professional. You know, he's a good guy. You know, I remember seeing him after his last fight against Cepeda. You know, I was there. You know, I had a catch up, I had a picture and stuff with him. So Shakur's a good guy. You know, and I'm favouring him in the Teo fight.
This warning isn't about physical damage. Smith doesn't think Teofimo gets badly hurt. It's about tactics. He believes Shakur's elite amateur background, one of the strongest of this era, combined with his professional adaptability, creates a puzzle Lopez hasn't faced before. Teofimo has struggled against movers and boxers before, Sander Martin being the example, and Shakur is that style perfected. Smith sees the equation clearly. Lopez needs something dramatic. Shakur just needs to be himself.
He's gonna pull away with the victory just based off being disciplined. You know, at this level, you know, they both skill for skill. They both got skills. You can't take that away from them. But at this level, it's all about, you know, the small details. Who's disciplined? Who's able to focus throughout the whole, you know, fight. And just based off of like they past fights, you kind of see Teo sometimes like discipline, but Shakur, you know, he could stay locked in for the 12 rounds. You know, he could stick to his game plan for the 12 rounds. And I feel like that's what's going to separate the winner from the loser. And I feel like Shakur going to be...
7 interview, but Dalton Smith has more on his mind than predicting someone else's fight. He's days away from the biggest moment of his career, world title clash against the dangerous Subriel Machas. And the road to that bout hasn't just been rough, it's been chaotic. As Smith's camp hit full stride, rumors and allegations began circulating around Machas involving banned substances. In modern boxing, that kind of cloud can derail an entire main event overnight.
Would Teofimo knock out Shakur? No. Can Teo adjust to the point where he beats Shakur? Yeah. You don't see how? Shakur hates slick and economic boxers. So does Teo. They both hate what each other are. Shakur looks great against volume punchers. De Los Santos sitting back and not being active, Shakur doesn't look good. That's when they say he's born. The thing is, Teofimo Lopez is an excellent fighter. He beat Josh Taylor and Lomachenko. How did he beat Lomachenko? By being patient. Y'all sleeping on Teo. And it's at 140. Now, the thing what's wrong with Teo is Teo also looks good as a counter puncher when you are a volume puncher too. Another thing is Teo looks very great when he's dialed in. He fights more athletic than Shakur. Shakur fights far more technically sound, and he's a more gifted fighter skill-wise. I'm leaning towards Shakur, but